Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana to chapter 30 of Kishkindha Kanda. In the previous chapters, we saw Rama waiting on the Prasravana hill along with Lakshmana for the end of rainy season, while the season is almost coming to the end. And at that time, Hanuman in the Kishkindha, he woke up, he alerted Sugriva, reminding him of his vow towards Rama to search for Sita, and then Sugriva immediately ordered Nila to gather his entire army, and he had commanded all his leaders to arrive in Kishkindha within the next 15 days. Meanwhile, the rainy season is coming to the end, leading to the season of autumn. Sugriva re-entered his palace, and the sky being free from cloud, Rama, who during the rainy season had been overcome by the intensity of his grief, gazing on the pure and tranquil moon and the marvelously clear autumnal nights, perceiving that Sugriva was leading a life of pleasure and reflecting on his own laws, also, the time was passing, fell into profound melancholy, though he soon mastered his mood. Yet the wise Raghava remained absorbed in the thought of Sita and beasts, and seeing the sky free from the cloud, taking on the serene aspects, re-echoing to the calls of the cranes, he began to lament in sorrowful accents, seated on the jutting ridge of the mountain rich in gold under the autumnal sky. His thoughts went out to his beloved spouse, and he reflected, what joy can my youthful wife experience now? She who loved the call of the cranes in the forest and imitated their note. In my absence, how can that tender maid take any delight in the tufts of flowers shining like pure gold? She who formerly wakened to the cry of the swans, what felicity can Sita of soft speech and tender form enjoy now, when she hears the cry of that wild geese traveling in the skies? What will become of that princess whose eyes are as large as lotuses? I feel no happiness without Sita, whose eyes resemble the doves when wandering by river, lake, and forest, and my beloved in her tenderness will suffer cruelly in my absence. Through the desire that the beauty of autumn inspires, thus did that son of the king lament like unto the saranga bird when it solicits water from Indra. At that moment, Lakshmana, who had gone out in careful search of fruits, returned from the enchanting mountain slopes, and perceiving his elder brother absorbed in sorrowful thoughts, his mind distraught, alone in that solitude, the sagacious Saumitri, who was deeply distressed by the grief of his unfortunate brother, said to him, why, O noble prince, have you become a slave to love? Why this reversion of your former resolution? Your distress precludes you from reflecting calmly. Tranquility of mind is essential to carrying out any design. After mature consideration, the time ordained together with the strength of your ally should be utilized by you for carrying out your project without delay, O friend. Nay, the daughter of Janaka, supported by you, will not be of easy access to your enemies. O protector of the human race, None may approach a blazing fire without being burnt, O valiant warrior. On this, Rama answered the indomitable Lakshmana in characteristic accents that were worthy of him, saying, your words are practical and wise, full of good sense, and in accord with the duty and the law. We should reflect on how to act without delay. This quest must be pursued when one is powerful, invincible, youthful, and valiant. One should have no misgivings concerning one's success. Then, recollecting Sita, whose eyes were as large as lotus petals, Rama, with a downcast mien, again addressed Lakshmana, saying, the thousand eyed god, having saturated the earth with water and caused the grain to germinate, his task accomplished, is now resting. The clouds, which amid a deep and prolonged rumbling, spread over the mountains, forests, and cities, letting loose their showers, are stationary. O Prince, the fury of the thunder clouds, resembling intoxicated elephants, black as the leaves of the blue lotus, darkening the 10 regions, has abated. Swollen with water, the clouds have visited the fragrant groves of Kutaja and Arjuna trees with wind and rain and have now disappeared in their airy flight. O my friend, clamor of the herds of elephants, the cry of the peacocks, and the sound of the rain have ceased, O irreproachable Lakshmana. Washed by dense clouds that have removed their impurities, the mountains with their magnificent encarpments shine forth, illumined by the moon's rays. Autumn now manifests her grace in the branches of the Saptachada trees, in the light of sun, moon, and stars, and in the gait of the majestic elephants, and her influence appears everywhere. In the tufts of lotuses opening to the first rays of the sun, in the scent of Saptachada tree flowers, in the music of the humming bees, autumn shines in all her splendor. The geese, with their large and graceful wings, friends of the gods of love, have just arrived, covered with the pollen of the lotuses, and are walking to and fro on the sandy banks of the rivers, disporting themselves with the swans, in the intoxicated elephants, in the kine, in the tranquilly flowing rivers. Autumn is reflected in her myriad aspects. Seeing the sky bereft of cloud, the peacocks in the woods, shorn of their caudal beauty, are no longer attracted to their chosen ones, and having lost their brilliance, their delight has evaporated, and they appear absorbed in their own thoughts. The tall trees of sweet fragrance, the tips of whose branches are bent under the weight of their blossom, shining like gold, enchanting to look upon, seem to light up the depth of the forest. Accompanied by their females, the great elephants, frequenters of the pools covered with lotuses and the woods, who formerly stood amid the flowers, intoxicated with ichor, now walk with a slow and languid pace, merged in amorous sport. The sky has cleared and is as bright as a drawn sword. The water in the river flows slowly, a breeze refreshing the white water lilies blows, and those regions delivered from the darkness shine forth. Freed from mud by the growing warmth of the sun, the soil is covered with a thick dust that the wind carries to a great distance. It is the time when kings at enmity with each other start on their campaigns, shining with beauty with which the Ottoman has endowed them, exulting their limbs powdered with dust, mad with desire and thirsting to fight. Bulls bellow amid the kine, carrying his love, the noble she elephant, eager and affectionate, with a slow tread circles round the bull, intoxicated with ichor, and follows him in the woods. Bereft of their tail feathers, their marvelous natural adornment, wandering on the banks of the rivers, the peacocks, as if scorned by the cranes, move about forlornly in flocks. With their formidable cries, the chiefs of the elephants strike terror in the ducks and geese standing in the pools covered with flowering lotuses and having sprinkled themselves with water again and again begin to drink and the rivers free of muds, with their sandy banks and peaceful ripples frequented by herds of kine, re-echoing to the cry of cranes, herons frolic joyously, the sound of the rivers, the clouds, the waterfalls, the winds, the cry of the peacocks, and the croaking of frogs has ceased. Many colored venomous serpents, greatly emaciated, deprived of food during the rains, tormented with hunger, emerge from their holes where they have been confined so long during the rainy season. The evening, caressed by the rays of the trembling moon, casts aside her veil, revealing her roseate countenance with its stars in an ecstasy of joy. The night, whose gentle face is the full moon, resembles a youthful woman. The clusters of stars, her smile and charming mien, lit by the orb at its full, it seems as it wrapped in a white mantle gorged with ripe grain, an enchanting flock of cranes joyfully crosses the sky in rapid flight, blown by the breeze like a garland of flowers, tastefully interwoven. The waters of the great lake, with a solitary swan floating there asleep amid countless water lilies, resembles the heavens free from cloud, illumined by the full moon and a myriad of stars. With their girdle of swans, their wreaths of blue and white lotus in flower, great lakes are surpassingly beautiful and resemble lovely women decorated with jewels at break of dawn, blending with the sound of the breeze blowing through the reeds, resembling the notes of a flute, the deep roarings in the caverns increased by the wind and the bellowing of bulls seemed to answer one another. The river banks adorned with flowering grasses stirred by a gentle breeze, resemble bright linen clothes from which the stains have been washed away. Bumblebees roaming at will in the forest, gorged with nectar, heavy with the pollen of lotuses, where they have rested in an excess of joy, accompanied by their loved ones, follow the god of the wind in the woods. Calm waters, the flowering grasses, the cry of the curlews, the ripened paddy fields, the gentle breeze, the immaculate moon are all celebrating the departure of the rainy season. Today, the rivers, wearing their silver fish as girdles, flow by slowly like lovely women moving languidly, having passed the night in love. With the geese, aquatic plants, and the reeds that cover them like woven shawls, the rivers sparkling resemble the faces of women. In the forest, adored adorned with arches of blossoms and full of the joyous humming of bees. The god of love today impatiently wields his fiery bow, having saturated the earth with his profuse showers and filled the lakes and rivers, preparing the soil of the harvest. The clouds have disappeared from the sky. Little by little, the rivers in autumn uncover their banks like chaste brides disclosing their charms. O my friend, the waters having subsided, the rivers re echo to the cry of ospreys, and flocks of geese abound in the ponds. It is the time, O beloved prince, when kings declare war on each other and thirsty for conquest enter upon their campaigns. The inception of hostilities for monarchs has begun, O prince, and I do not see Sugriva making ready for an expedition of this kind. Ashana so Asana, Saptaparna, Kovidara trees are in full flower, as also the Bandhujiva plant and the Tamala trees on the mountain slopes. O Lakshmana, behold, the sandy banks of the rivers abound in swans, cranes, geese, and osprey that are seen on every side. The 4 months of the rain that have passed to me to me like 100 years, so filled with grief that I, on account of Sita's absence, like the Chakravaka bird with its mate, she followed me in the forest, and the dreadful loneliness of Dandaka's solitude seemed to that youthful woman a garden of delight. Though far from my beloved, overcome with sorrow, bereft of my kingdom and an exile, yet Sugriva shows no pity for me, O Lakshmana. He is without support, deprived of his kingdom, affronted by Ravana, unhappy, exiled. That amorous prince has taken refuge with me. Thus will that means this is how exactly Sugriva think about Rama. Thus will Sugriva speak, O my friend, and in his perversity he, the king of Vanaras, holds me in contempt. I, the scourge of my enemies, having fixed a time to set out in search of Sita and entered into formal contract to do so. This false one, having obtained his ends, has forgotten his pledge. You yourself enter Kishkindha and in my name address that bull of monkeys, the wretched Sugriva, the slave of domestic bliss, saying, he who, having raised the hopes of those who have sought his help in adversity, and who formerly rendered him a service, fails to fulfill his promise to them, is considered the least of men in this world. But that valiant one, who for good or evil loyally honors his given words, he is the best of men. Even the carnivorous beasts refuse to feed on the flesh of those ungrateful beings who, having obtained their end, do not assist their friends to do so in their turn. Assuredly, you desire to behold the gleam of my gold backed bow, resembling a series of lightning flashes stretched ready for combat. Then shall you hear the dread twangling of my bowstring like unto the clash of the thunder, when in wrath I range the field of the battle, having brought my renowned valor to his remembrance, O illustrious prince, you who are my companion, it would be strange if he did not pause and reflect. O you conqueror of hostile cities, since he king of the Plavagas has gained his desire, he no longer recollects the time chosen, and the king of the monkeys, wholly given over to pleasure, does not appear to be aware that 4 months have passed, drinking and roistering with his ministers and his court. Sugriva does not trouble himself about us who are filled with anxiety. Go and address him, O valiant hero. Inform him of our displeasure and speak to him in those terms which are inspired by my wrath, saying, the gate of death through which Wali passed is not closed. O Sugriva, honor your pledge, for fear that you may follow in the path taken by him. Your brother died alone, struck down by my arrow. But if you fail in faith, I shall destroy you together with your whole house. O greatest of men, say all that will further our desire. We must not delay. O prince, say to him, honor the promise you did make to me. O king of the Vanaras, recollect that virtue is eternal, or losing your life this day, you shall fall into the jaws of death, where the shaft shall dispatch you to seek out Wali. Seeing his elder brother, who was afflicted in his great misfortune in the throes of violent anger, Lakshmana, burning with courage, the promoter of the glory of Manu's race, profoundly distressed, felt a deep resentment towards the king of the Vanaras, the Sugriva. Thus ended chapter 30 of Kishkindha Kanda in Ramayana. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puravasini, Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam, Vidya Danancha Dehime. Bye.